What is up, guys? It is your friendly neighborhood dingo, and today I've actually come across a trend that I would like to share with you. Now, around 2 years ago, I made a video talking about the demise of Islam and what it would look like by the end of the century. I talked about my experience as an ex-Muslim and how much the internet really impacted me in leaving the faith, despite the severe consequences of doing so. And then I talked about how the internet is a unique challenge that Islam has never faced in its 1400-year history. Of course, that video went to do over 3 million views, and I believe a lot of people have done similar videos about the internet's impact on Islam now. But what I do love is when the core argument behind that video actually becomes a reality through trends like what I'm about to show you now. Now, I have always argued that women would be leading this charge because Islam impacts women the most. If you look at some of the worst places for women in the world today, these are mostly Muslim majority countries. We're talking about forced veiling, we're talking about FGM, we're talking about child marriages, forced marriages. We're talking about not having equal representation before courts. We're talking about inheritance laws. We're talking about the ability to go out alone, get educated. We're talking about even things like being able to drive yourself anywhere you wanted in a car or vehicle you own. Even little things like that did not happen in even countries, rich countries like Saudi Arabia, until very recently. Now, the trend I wanted to show you guys is where what looks like a ton of ex-Muslim women on X or Twitter, where they are showing you the before and after photos of essentially when they were a Muslim versus now, where they have gotten rid of what is likely the most oppressive garment enforced on women in these Muslim majority countries, and that is the hijab. Just look at these women. This is insane to me. The sheer number of women who have just completely gotten rid of the hijab and sometimes even the niqab. And in all these photos, I feel like all these women just look significantly happier. Just look at them. They all look happier and they all look like they are free from the shackles of Islam. They are free to do whatever they want, however they want to live their lives. They are now free to do that. Essentially, they're just finally being recognized as human beings. That is what Islam takes away from women. It dehumanizes them so much that they want to hide women under what is essentially a garbage bag. You could not distinguish some of those Afghan women under the Taliban versus a pile of trash, essentially. That is how much they dehumanize these women. And now that is changing. Now these women aren't scared to go out there and say to the world, hey, look, we have disregarded the hijab. And that was indeed oppressive. And ironically enough, these are not things Western, liberal, white women who have been the biggest defenders of Islam in recent years would like you to see. I reckon they hate this. And you know who else hates this? The people who hate this the most are obviously Muslims. And they have been going absolutely insane in the comment section in many of these photos. Just have a look at this woman here. And we're going to go have a look at some fun comments that Muslims have left under her image. I love this one here where a Muslim woman goes, if you had been born and raised in your religion and you were convinced that God's command for Muslim women is beyond dispute, you never would have felt psychologically pressured. I feel like this person doesn't understand what's going on. The point here is you questioned this religion. You questioned what people around you were saying, because Allah doesn't speak to these people directly. You read the Quran, as this person has rightly put in here. You read the Quran, you look at the Sunnah, you look at the Hadith, you look at how Muhammad lived, you look at everything about Islam, and then you decide for yourself whether it is true or not. What this person here is saying is that you have to follow Islam without question. And why do people do that? Because usually, if you don't, the death penalty or life imprisonment or a complete social death awaits you. That is why most people don't question it. But once the internet comes into the picture and it just shows you everything. And the number one reason, and a lot of this is actually coming from women, ex-Muslim women, the number one reason they all give for leaving Islam is the character of Muhammad. Which is why I guess I do a lot of historical videos about Muhammad's life so that I can reach as many people as possible, especially in the Islamic world, and even non-Muslims who want to learn about how Muhammad actually lived his life, so that you understand exactly what kind of a person he was and exactly what he actually taught in a rather secular way. Look at these Muslims losing their absolute shit. Oh my, the shamelessness on display. police. They're gonna call police. Yeah, actually, you know what? That is exactly what they do. They call morality police or whoever to come and beat the fuck out of these women for doing something as simple as taking off the hijab. Quite the choice, isn't it? We all must suppress the shameless ones because those who reach this level aren't normal. Yeah, a lot of these people, and I know this from a lot of ex-Muslims as well, all these Muslims, because they aren't coping well with the fact that someone can criticize and even leave Islam, sometimes they just go so insane. They're like, oh yeah, the people who leave Islam, yeah, they've gone insane. They are crazy, which is ironic because apparently it isn't crazy to think that Muhammad marrying a 6-year-old isn't a bad thing. It apparently isn't crazy to think that Muhammad rode on a donkey and traversed the earth in one night. Apparently that isn't crazy. Someone taking off the hijab is the crazy part. And this other person goes, some imagine that removing a piece of cloth is liberation. Yeah, it is liberation. Or the breaking of some shackle. Yeah, well, of course it is. When in truth, you have shackled yourself with things outside sound human nature. What the fuck is this person talking about? And shackled yourself in obedience to a whim or to Satan. Are you more knowledgeable about your affair than the one who created you and brought you into being? Well, yeah, she is, because this Allah that you're talking about does not exist. And it is more likely that Allah or whatever approached Muhammad is some sort of demon, if you believe in that. A lot of people do, actually. And other people here, they're still preaching. They're talking about how the hijab is mandatory. There's no choice. And this is what most Muslims actually believe, by the way. Yeah, it is the taqiyya when the Western audiences are added in. They talk about how it's a choice, but no real Muslim. Nobody who has actually studied the hadith, the Quran, none of them actually believe it is a choice. That's just utter nonsense, by the way. We can look at this person's photo. There'll be a lot of angry people here. Just have a look. Are you not scared from being cursed by God? This person goes, God doesn't approve Islam. May God curse you. I made you do it. All these people, they are so fucking angry about the fact that a woman of her own accord dared to remove this piece of cloth. They are so angry, and this is why I call Islam the most homosexual religion out there. Because the men who enforce this on women, they do not want to see women. They don't want women to be in public areas. They don't want women to be in public gatherings. They want women to be hidden away in their houses or under this hijab or the niqab. The only logical conclusion of your disdain for women and of your need to hide them away and of your need to never see them around is that you are just like Muhammad and the Al-Zat. And that is the fact that you are so fucking gay, might as well put on a hijab and go on RuPaul's Drag Race. That is how gay you are. Genuinely. Now, this is from Reddit, but I wanted to just share with you because I thought this was quite funny, actually. So apparently, even Muslim women, I say look into this religion a lot more, even they are having some very serious doubts. Or, I mean, they're getting close to understanding why it is not true. Just have a look at this woman's complaint here. The Quran tells me I will stand before Allah alone, not with my husband, alone. Yet somehow, I'm told I need my husband's permission to do a voluntary fast in case he wants sex during daylight. Then people wonder why women are asking questions about certain hadith. And all the comments are like, yeah, to be honest, it's kind of weird. Same like, why can't he wait till night? That's a weird assumption, but that is not the real reason for a husband permission for voluntary fasts. And another person goes, I respect it. I believe all hadiths need to be analysed and criticised. It is kind of crazy though. And they are all a bit annoyed by the whole thing. Well, it is crazy, but the more these women actually look into these things, the more they'll realize, even in the Quran, which they will never question, it has a ton of shit, a ton of commands that essentially treat women like second-class citizens, as inferior. And also to answer this woman's question, yeah, it was all made up by very sex-hungry, insane, barbaric, Middle Eastern 7th century men. That's all there is to it, really. They made these rules so that their 4 wives and their sex slaves and whoever else they captured during war could never refuse them when they wanted to have sex. It doesn't matter. Even Aisha, even Muhammad's own child bride, told Muhammad himself something like, oh, it seems like God hastens your desires all the time. And I've always said Aisha definitely knew that Islam was completely bullshit. And she knew Muhammad was making it all up. Like, if you look at a story objectively, you'll know this very, very clearly. And this is exactly why when I see a video like this, where a white Western woman has apparently converted to Islam, primarily because of the Palestine issue and nothing really beyond that. They haven't looked into Islam, they haven't looked into what it teaches, they haven't looked into anything really. I find it extremely cringe, and I don't really have much sympathy for them once they understand what it is and finally want to leave, and then it becomes a massive issue, because you have the freedom of religion in these Western countries.
I took my shahada today, you know what that means. Takbir, Allahu Akbar. Takbir, Allahu Akbar. Takbir, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah. Welcome to the Ummah, sister.
Yeah, welcome to an Ummah of retards, fucking idiot. I can assure you, these are not people you want to listen to. The people you want to listen to are people who grew up in Islam, who grew up in countries where they did not have the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and yet they still dared to take off the hijab. They still dared to do this. And I am glad Islam's collapse or its implosion is being led by the very people, that is women, that Islam sought to oppress and hide away for a good 1400 years. And on that note, that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed that video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the song that's coming up, and I'll see you next time.
Dingo, 準備はいいか?
In the neon haze of a broken dawn, steel towers hum, but the wild runs on.